You know that feeling when your phone buzzes on a Friday afternoon and it's a group chat saying, "Tonight's still on, right?" And something in your chest just drops. Not because you don't like these people, not because anything is wrong, but because some part of you was already mentally settled into the couch, already planning the exact corner you'd sit in, already looking forward to the specific silence of your own apartment. And now that's gone. So you type, "Of course, see you there," and spend the next 3 hours quietly grieving the evening you'd already imagined. If that sounds familiar, welcome. You're about to understand something about yourself that nobody ever bothered to explain. Because here's what the world tells people like you: you're antisocial, you're boring, you're missing out. The entire architecture of modern culture, the influencers, the FOMO, the "you only live once" energy, is built on the assumption that a full life is a loud life, that the best memories happen in crowded rooms, that staying home is what you do when nothing better is available. But psychology tells a completely different story. And that's what we're getting into today. Here's the foundation. Human beings don't all run on the same operating system. Extroverts genuinely recharge through social contact. The noise, the movement, the energy of other people actually fills them up. But for introverts and people with a strong preference for solitude, social interaction works in reverse. Even enjoyable interaction slowly drains something. And the only environment that actually restores them is a quiet one. Usually home. Psychologists call this optimal arousal theory. The idea is that every person has an ideal level of stimulation, a sweet spot where their nervous system feels alert, but not overwhelmed, engaged, but not depleted. For some people, that sweet spot requires a lot of input. For others, it requires very little. And here's the crucial part. Neither is a choice. It's not a personality flaw or a lifestyle preference you picked up somewhere. It's how your nervous system is literally wired. Think about the last time you spent a full day in a loud, unpredictable environment. A crowded event, a long social gathering, a day of back-to-back interactions. Remember that feeling at the end? That specific exhaustion that's different from being physically tired. That's not in your head. That's your nervous system telling you it's been running at a level above its optimal range for too long. And the only thing that fixes it is stillness. But there's another layer here that most people never talk about. And this is the part that gets me every time I come back to it. For people with high sensitivity or anxiety, home isn't just comfortable. It's the only place where they have full control over their environment. And control for a nervous system that's constantly reading for threat is not a luxury. T's oxygen. Think about what happens the moment you step outside. You can't control who's going to talk to you. You can't control the noise level of the restaurant. You can't control whether the train is delayed, whether someone is in a bad mood, whether the lighting in that office is the kind that gives you a slow headache by 3 p.m. The world outside Eddie has a constant stream of unpredictable inputs that your nervous system has to process, filter, and respond to. All day, every day. But at home, you control the lighting, you control the temperature, you control the sounds, the smells, the pace of the afternoon. For someone whose nervous system runs hot, who picks up on everything, who processes deeply, who feels things at a higher resolution than most, that control isn't about being difficult. It's survival mechanics. It's the difference between a day that costs you everything and a day that gives something back. And here's something that might genuinely surprise you. Research consistently shows that people who spend meaningful time in solitude tend to score higher in creativity, self-awareness, and complex problem solving. Not despite the time alone, because of it. There's a reason the best ideas don't come in meetings. They come in the shower, on a slow walk, and that half-awake state on a Sunday morning when nobody needs anything from you yet. The brain in solitude isn't idle. It's doing its deepest work. It's making connections that the noise of social life constantly interrupts. When you stay home and let your mind wander, you're not wasting time. You're giving your brain the conditions it actually needs to do what it does best. So when someone says, you need to get out more, what they're really saying, without knowing it, is you should spend less time in the conditions where your brain functions best, which is a strange thing to recommend. Now, there's something important we need to sit with for a moment, because not everyone who prefers staying home is doing it from a place of peace. Sometimes home becomes a hiding place. Sometimes what looks like a preference for solitude's actually anxiety making the decision, telling you that outside is dangerous, that people are exhausting, that it's easier to just not. Sometimes it's depression that's done such a quiet, thorough job of shrinking your world that you've stopped noticing the walls closing in. And the difference matters. There's a question worth asking yourself honestly. When you stay home, do you feel restored? Or do you feel relieved? Like you've just barely escaped something? Because one of those is a nervous system getting what it needs. The other is avoidance wearing the costume of preference. If it's the second one, if home has started to feel less like sanctuary and more like the only safe option, that's worth paying attention to. That's worth talking to someone about. Not because there's anything wrong with you, but because you deserve more than a life that's organized entirely around avoiding discomfort. But for those of you for whom solitude is genuinely nourishing, this next part is for you. There's a kind of joy that only exists in small rituals. The way a specific mug makes coffee taste better. The exact corner of the couch that's yours. The specific quality of light in your apartment on a late Sunday afternoon when the whole day is still ahead and there's nowhere you have to be. The particular piece of a meal you made yourself, eaten slowly, with something good playing quietly in the background. These aren't small things. These are the texture of a life that's actually being lived, not performed for an audience, not captured for a story, just experienced fully and quietly by the one person it belongs to. Psychologists call this low stimulation preference, the capacity to find genuine richness in a life that from the outside might look uneventful. The inner world is so full that the outer world doesn't need to compete. You're not missing out. You're not broken. You're not someone who failed to become a more social version of themselves. You're someone who is wired for depth over noise, for presence over performance, for the kind of contentment that doesn't need to be photographed to be real. So tell me, is staying home something that fills you up? Or is it something you're still trying to explain to the people in your life who just don't get it? Leave it in the comments. I read them all. And if this video made something click, if it gave you language for something you felt but never been able to name, The next video is going to go even deeper. It's about the psychology of people who feel everything more intensely than those around them. And if you recognized yourself today, I have a feeling you'll recognize yourself there too.